Hi everyone, this is Tasha Hensel, and I'll be doing a book review on the book Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. So, Just Mercy tells the story of a lawyer fighting for those wrongfully accused and those put on death row. Stevenson explained the book purpose is to get closer to the issue of incarceration in the United States. He described the changes since the 1980s that have resulted in an unjust and punitive criminal justice system. He cites the growing incarceration rate, the death penalty, the harsh sentences for juvenile offenders and nonviolent crimes, and the criminalization of poverty, mental illness, and drug addiction. He writes that the system fails at rehabilitation and instead uses labels like felons to permanently degrade the condemned. Bryan Stevenson battled racial injustice and represents many poor, non-white, mental ill, and young wrongdoers. Their stories are spread throughout the book as he encounters his defense of Walter McLennan, a black male, a wrongfully convicted prisoner that was sentenced to death row. So we were introduced to Walter's case where he is charged for a crime that he did not even commit, despite hard evidence that would prove he's innocent. Because it's coming from the black community, it's degraded by the court. In fact, the shocking part about this case is that he was placed on death row before his case went to trial, which is unfair, right? Yeah. And it was also illegal. This is one of the many unjust cases that have been happening in the US in the past, and that is currently happening. There's an abundant amount of people on death row or life without parole that are charged with non-violent crimes. Like people make mistakes, and crimes such as taking drugs shouldn't be worthy of sending someone to prison for life without parole. Like, no. So Bryan Stevenson focused on the topic of the unfairness in the criminal justice system, while advocating his voice to readers about the issues of the criminal justice system. The book Just Mercy certainly opened my eyes to the difficulties that's been happening and that is still happening in the criminal justice system. He focused in the book he focuses on themes like the opposite of poverty is not wealth, the opposite of poverty is justice. Just Mercy draws much attention to many with cases of poor black children sentenced to adult prison and serving life sentences. Let me repeat that again. Just Mercy draws much attention to many with the cases of poor black children, kids, sentenced to adult prison and serving life sentences. One of the book's two main purposes is exploration of several flaws or failing in the American legal system. These flaws include, in Stevenson's mind and argument, systematic racism, additional prejudice towards others, so-called downgrade population like women, the poor, and the mentally ill. In chapter 13, Stevenson described Walter's life after his release. Stevenson remarked that during the 1990s, the increasing rate of implementation strengthened public debate about the death penalty and concerns about the possibility of wrongfully convictions. In conclusion, Stevenson's Just Mercy illustrates that there are many court cases and trials that have been unlawfully conducted. People who were unjustly accused, and many corrupt parties within the legal system in the United States. So one thing that I've learned in this crime and punishment class, that one thing that stood out to me was the case with the Central Park Five. Their stories, like, I feel like their stories, it was just so sad. Like, those kids, they were wrongfully charged with murder. Like, they got like years from 5 to 15 years, and I feel like that was just unfair. So yeah, the boys, they received sentences from 5 to 15 years in prison for basically not doing anything. But I feel like the color of their skin had a lot to do with it. And the boys, they did not know their rights. One other thing that stood out to me in this class, like one thing that I learned was my rights. Like, they did not know their rights. Their parents did not know their rights. And no matter who you are, no matter how you live, you have rights. Like, these rights are meant to protect you as a person. Not most people understand his or her rights, but sometimes people do act unfairly, and you have to stick up for yourself to make sure you are treated with respect, the respect that you deserve. It would take a long time to list all the rights, but they do have one thing in common. They do, yeah. Our rights have one thing in common. You have the right to be treated just like everybody else, no matter who you are, no matter how you live your life. That's why it's so important to learn your rights, to ask for help, and to share what you know with others. It's just simply the right thing. So back to the Central Park Five, like, even though at the end the guys, I think they got, like, I was reading something, and like they got some money from the city, like millions. But I feel like no matter like the amount of money that they got, like, they're scarred. Like, they're mentally, physically, they're scarred. So no matter the amount of money that they got, that just gonna change what they went through in prison, or they're just scarred. So as I was saying, the boys, they did not know their rights. They were supposed to have adult supervision, or they were supposed to have a lawyer with them, while the police were there questioning them. Like, they were not supposed to answer no question at all, no communication with the police. But because they did not know their rights, they went ahead and they were questioned, and they answered all the questions. They even told lies on themselves. Like, so I feel like in today's society, this is one thing that kids from maybe high school or middle school, they should like have a class where they're gonna teach students about their rights, just in case they got arrested by the police. So yeah, these are some of the things that I've learned in this class. This was a very informative class. I've learned a lot more, but I don't have the time to say most of the things that I've learned. But I also learned like things to do whenever you're stopped by whenever you're stopped by a cop, like things to do, how to approach a situation. So yeah, I've learned a lot in this class, and stuff that I've learned, like, I will not only be keeping it to myself, but I will also be sharing it with others so that they know about the criminal justice system.